Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. I am Gabo the Shaman, and today we are talking about the solar eclipse, and also about Rahu and Ketu. So, if you don't know, um, I have a bunch of services up here, so you can check those out. I am also discounting my astrology readings for like about 50%. So if you've ever wanted to get an astrology reading, then you can go to my website and do that. Alright, so let's go ahead and do this. So I wanted to talk today about Rahu and the solar eclipse that's happening today, October the 14th, 2023. And yeah, so what is Rahu? So yeah, I guess that's a good place to start. Is what is Rahu? Rahu is what's known as a shadow planet. It is not a physical planet like the sun, like Venus, Mercury, Jupiter, Mars. It's not a physical planet, which is like, okay, why did these Vedic astrologers like a millennia ago come up with this system, these planets, Rahu and Ketu? Well, they discovered that these shadow planets had a specific relation to our karma and our what we're here to do and our karmic destiny and things like that. So yeah, that's kind of what how they came up with it and like what it means. Anyway, I'm not going to get into all the technical terms, like like how they discovered this, and what like what Rahu and Ketu actually are. They are, if you don't know, they are the north and south nodes of the moon. Now, the nodal axis is basically where, like, when we have this solar eclipse or the lunar eclipse, we can see Rahu and Ketu aligning perfectly with the moon and the sun. So they are nodes of the moon. So Rahu is the north node, Ketu is the south node. You can really dive into the reasons behind that and the science behind it, and because there is a scientific reason. So yeah. Anyway, but yeah, I just wanted to talk about the kind of astrological reason and the spiritual reason behind these planets in your chart. So Rahu is known as it's known to be pertain to addictions, pertain to gluttony, greed, consumerism, consumption, overconsumption, things like that. Rahu is basically the Vedic story behind Rahu is he snuck into like a party with all the gods who were like they toiled to make soma, which is like this elixir of immortality, and so they were passing it around, and each planet took a sip. Each of the gods, each of the planets, and all that took a sip, and Rahu snuck in there as I think it was, I forget what it was, but yes, he snuck in there and kind of distracted the gods and the planets, and just kind of distracted them as a beautiful woman, and got their lust triggered and all this good stuff, and so they were totally distracted. And then he was sitting between the sun and the moon, and then as he takes the drink of the elixir of immortality, soma, everybody realizes, that he's a fake. He's in a disguise, and Vishnu comes with his sword and chops off his neck. So this means that Rahu is the head, Ketu is the body. Now, why this is so important in your chart is because Rahu wants to party. He wants to drink. He wants to experience, sex, pleasure, food, drink, like luxury of the world. He wants to experience it. He wants to feel satiated, so he goes to addictions, gambling, smoking, drinking, over, being promiscuous and things like that. And he tries to fill himself up on those things. But the fact of the matter is, he is a head without a body, meaning that he cannot digest anything that he is consuming. It just basically falls right out his neck when he consumes it. And so this always leaves him with a lust for feeling satiated, feeling full, feeling complete. And so this so this is why he does those things. It's because he doesn't feel complete. So, and by the way, I've made a video series with Rahu going through each sign of the zodiac and each house of the zodiac. So you can watch that and figure out what your Rahu placement specifically means for you. All right. So Rahu, so when why Rahu pertains to an eclipse? Why is Rahu associated with an eclipse? Because in the old Vedic astrology, Rahu was sitting between the sun and the moon, and he was trying to devour the sun. He was trying to basically intake the soul. He wanted to feel that light of the sun, and essentially he was referred to as a demon. It's not like the Christian demon, it's just means an earthly spirit, basically. Doesn't mean he's evil, doesn't mean he's out to get you or anything like that. But Rahu is referred to as a demon. Now, since he was severed from his body, he needed something to fulfill him, to complete him. So he thought of, consuming the light of the soul, consuming the sun. What does the sun pertain to in Vedic astrology? Sun is joy, fun, creativity, sex, pleasure, leadership and royalty, government, things like that. So basically, Rahu wants to intake the light of the soul and feel complete. That's why he's always chasing after the sun. Now when we have an eclipse, that is when we see Rahu. We see this, the ring of the sun, and then the moon, the hollowness in the middle, blackness. Now, this is Rahu consuming the sun, and when he consumes the sun, he discovers that he is still hollow on the inside. It's that thing. If you go after sex, drugs, rock and roll, you know, all the things of the world, you're never going to be satisfied. So Rahu is trying to teach you, hey, you have a body. You have every ability to go after your soul desire. And what that means for you is different than it means for me. So Rahu and Ketu, now Ketu is chasing after the moon, and he is like, he is like the void. He is like, it's just kind of the opposite of Ketu. He wants to go into the unconscious, the spirituality, being alone, being isolated, and all that good stuff. So Rahu is chasing after the sun, while Ketu is kind of chasing the moon. And so yeah, it's a really crazy thing, because we have these planets that are teaching us so much about about life, about everything. So what else did I want to say? So essentially, yeah, I just wanted to point out that, like, Rahu is chasing after a hollow sun. His desires are vain. His desires are lacking substance. He thinks that if he achieves something, that he's going to be happy. But that never works out. Once you get something, you're like, okay, well, yeah, that was nice, but I really want this. We go after that. And then you get it. Oh, that was really cool. I have that now. Now I want this and this and this and this. So it never ends, guys. True happiness is a state of mind. I believe I made a video sharing, I forget what video it was, but sharing about like the amount of happiness that is, like, so I think like 50% of happiness was like genetically, I don't want to say engineered, but it was like comes from your genetics. Like, are you a naturally happy person? That was 50%. And then the other 10% was environmental circumstances. And then actually I think it was like 40% genetics, 10% external circumstances. 50% of that was state of mind. Do you decide to be happy? Do you decide to, live for your soul? So it's a choice. And I hear a lot of astrologers and different spiritual people saying, you just gotta be happy no matter the circumstances. No matter what you're dealt in life, you have to be happy in order to attract positive things. That's false. For example, no, your soul has a specific particular thing that it wants to accomplish. So, and that's not just for the ego. That's not just for your reputation or for your what you think of yourself. That's just the soul wanting to experience joy. And so whatever activity, whatever it is that you do that gives you joy, that's what you're supposed to be following. You know, it's really about following the joy of your soul. And so many people are like, nah, I have to work a job and I have to do the 9 to 5 grind and, stay in the matrix, all this stuff, because you don't trust that the universe will provide for you. The only way the universe will provide for you, and this is like a universal rule, is when you go after things that make you happy. The universe is a loving mother. She will punish you if you are punishing yourself by working a crappy job. She won't give you anything because it's like, come on, why won't you support me while I'm working my butt off and trying to earn money? It's like some people will work for hours and hours and hours, like overtime and whatever, and they still get not much more than they make during their usual work hours. So, it's just like go after the thing that makes you happy. And I know that's not easy, but you can at least start somewhere. You can start somewhere. You can do it for 1 hour a day, 30 minutes a day, whatever it is. So, yeah. Um, so, yeah. Um, no, that's what it is. So, whether it's like wherever you have Rahu and or Ketu in your chart, there will always be some kind of dissatisfaction there. Rahu is like the dissatisfaction of wanting to consume. Why isn't this filling me up? Why isn't this filling me up? It's like consuming endless consumption, and it's like, taking drugs, alcohol, whatever. Why isn't it making you happy? Why isn't it filling you up? Because that's not true happiness. That's why. So with Rahu, it's always something's irritating you. Something is unsatisfactory. And then with Ketu, it's like, yeah, I've been there. I've done that. It's just no longer interesting for me. Kind of like, yeah, eh, it's just kind of not funny anymore once you've developed a level of expertise. It's like, it's like if you're playing a video game and you play it over and over and over, and you gradually get this like high level of expertise where you could basically play the game, blindfolded and win it 100%. But it's like that's no longer challenging. It's no longer fun if it's not a challenge. So K2 is like, I'm just kind of done with this place. K2 can also provide you a challenge too. Whether it's kind of not wanting to do something that you need to do or things like that. Ketu relates to spirituality, the occult, mysticism, tantra, mantra, different types of spiritual practices and things like that. So actually, the cure for Rahu? Like if you're constantly getting the urge, and oftentimes it'll be like an urge, a craving, a unstoppable compulsion to do something. What you need to do to offset that Rahu, if it's so strong in your chart that it's causing you to lead you to addiction, to different things like that, is to do Ketu stuff. So do your spiritual practice, do your meditation, do Qigong, yoga, anything like that. Mantra, ritual. Those things will all offset Rahu. Kind of bring it into balance a little bit. I know there's still, like, for many addicts, 10, 20, 30, 40 years later, there's still that craving, there's still that compulsion to intake drugs or alcohol or whatever, sexual relations and whatever. And, it never goes away. But through daily practice, daily prayer, daily meditation, daily spiritual practices, you will eventually, come to a place where you're achieving balance. So Rahu loves to go to one extreme, and Ketu loves to say, fuck the world, and I don't want to be here, and just go to a completely different extreme. So there's isolation, and then there's, like, consumption, addiction. And both same sides, different sides of the same coin. They often say that the opposite of addiction is connection, meaning connecting to people, being around people, discussing, being vulnerable, opening up. And, Ketu is isolation. Rahu is addiction. So they're kind of the same in many ways. But the thing to do is, to actually be around people, surround yourself with people, with a support system and things like that. And I'm taking my own advice. I'm in a 12-step group, and it's really changed a lot of the things a lot of the stuff that I used to hold on to and say, no, I need this. Like, even resentments or things like that. It's been life-changing, really, to experience such freedom and growth and letting go of all those things that I wish, things that I want to hold on to. Resentments, guilt, regret, all those things. But yeah, I mean, many people are just won't do it. Many people just won't. They refuse to be in any 12-step group. But that's really where I found the most help and strength and hope in my life, when I was feeling crappy and feeling down, was 12 steps groups, and the friends and support that I've had in there. Anyway, yeah, so that's pretty much all I wanted to say, guys. It's just kind of talk about the eclipses and how they relate to Rahu and Ketu. So as I said, like the eclipse is a hollow sun, a hollow moon, and it's just still that emptiness. Because, like I explained Rahu really well, but Ketu wants knowledge, it wants emotion, it wants, there's something called somatic, whenever someone refers to soma or somatic, whatever, somatic therapy, somatic experiencing, that is the brain and the body communicating with each other. That is the moon and the body. It's like, so what is the moon? The moon is our thoughts, emotions, feelings, motherly nurturing, things like that. So when we do Qigong, we're actually tapping into that energy, the energy of the life force energy of the universe that really nourishes us and keeps us, whenever I do Qigong, it's like I just bliss out because it's like I'm letting go of the things that separate me from the universe, and I am embracing the energy moving through me, and I'm, just kind of at peace, at one with everything. And I know that sounds hokey, but it is what it is. Yeah. Anyway, guys, if you have any questions, please drop a comment down below. And yeah, so if you didn't know already, I am the best astrologer that I can be. So there's that caveat. And yeah, go to gebotheshaman.com and yeah, check out my astrology readings. They're half off. And I also have Qigong courses. I have a yoga course mixed in with a Qigong course. So that's my a self-transformation challenge. I have an astrology certification course. So if you want to learn about astrology and you want to get certified in my style of astrology, which is very different than what you might typically see on YouTube or online, you can check that out. gebotheshaman.com. And then we have the course, the astrology readings, which I already talked about. Birth time rectifications. I do birth time rectifications, and it's I do them, and I basically take my time with it because it's such an intense and deep process that requires a lot of my time and attention. So, it does cost more than my regular services, but yeah, it's worth it because I find your exact time of birth and you can use that to pinpoint your exact birth chart. A lot of people don't know that if that time changes, if there's any discrepancy in your time of birth, then it really, it's pretty hard to, figure out what your correct birth chart is, but we'll find that out for you with the birth time rectification. Alright, so I do offer rune readings, which is a service that I offer if you want to figure out what's going on with you, what's going on in your past, present, or future, and all that good stuff. And really people use these a lot about relationships and kind of even career stuff, and to figure out what exactly is going on with them and what to expect in the future and what you can actually change. I give you, I give you remedies if the cards are, if the runes are not to your favor. I give you remedies for that. And then we have the career coaching, life coaching, all that good stuff. Yeah, so I've been doing a lot of these recently. Career coaching, life coaching. If you're not sure what your career is supposed to be, I can help you with that. I lead you in a quick guided meditation, and then we'll talk about like that. That guided meditation really opens you up to different possibilities of your career. So yeah, and then we have the trauma healing course. This is it's called the emotional awareness course, and you can find that on my Patreon. It's really a guide to having more acceptance and more love for yourself and experiencing your emotions with less judgment, less shame, less grief. A lot of times emotions can be very overwhelming. They can come out like a fire hose. You just high pressure, and that can be very overwhelming, like uncontrollable almost. But the more that we learn to experience our emotions in a curious and non-judgmental way, that's when we can kind of get to place where it's just kind of like a trickle. It goes from a fire hose to a gentle, like, stream or a creek, things like that. And then we have the distance energy healing. Now that's a 1 hour session with me where I have a meditation for you to do. So you'll be doing your meditation as I work on you energetically. It's a distance energy healing, and it's very calming, very soothing, very relaxing. But I go ahead and go in there and talk to your guides and guardians, ancestors, angels, whatever you believe in, and I just kind of go in there and send you healing and loving energy. This can heal any physical wounds or any emotional or spiritual stuff as well, from physical diseases to mental and emotional kind of stuff too. And then, last but not least, we also have my book, Tantric Secrets of Vedic Astrology. So if you want to know what's the secret behind my astrology readings and how to do astrology readings of your own, pick up that book. Pretty easy, pretty simple. But yeah, that's pretty much what I have. So yeah, it's pretty. It's a really good book because it explains kind of the backstory of a lot of the things, a lot of the beliefs and presumptions I have about things, and it kind of tells you where I get these things and things like that. So yeah, Tantric Secrets of Vedic Astrology, excellent book. It's a pretty short one, so don't be mad at me. It's pretty short for a reason, because it's, that's all that I need to say. It's really easily digestible and contains a lot of formulas or instructions for how to find things in your chart and stuff like that. Alright guys, well, I am going to talk to you later, and we will, talk to you later. Take care guys. Peace.